Now this is the last dance before the end of the world. Better move it like you never did before. Don't be afraid, yes, it's okay. Every end begins a new time. This is a shake-up. It's getting louder everywhere. Hear the drummer jumping on your front porch. And when they play, yes, it's okay. Every end begins a new time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the River's Edge Stage Millvale Music Festival show. We're going to do some brief little interviews with some of the great performers we have at this stage right here, broadcasting inside the Mr. Small's Theater at the main stage, which is going to be the River's Edge stage. We'll be live streaming the event on May 12th, and the stage runs from 6 p.m. until midnight, and closing out that stage at 11 p.m., we have Jim Donovan and the Sun King Warriors, and he joins me right now. Jim, how are you? Thanks so much for coming in.
I'm feeling great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So the first question I have to ask is, what is a Sun King Warrior?
The Sun King Warrior. People ask about the name, and it's a little bit complex, but it has some meaning. So the sun part is I think of it as like the highest realized version of myself. You know, so like my best self.
Mm-hmm.
The king part is the part that is in charge of himself and also leads people, shows people, gives people good information without being a jerk about it or a tyrant. And then the warrior part is the part that has to fight to get to those things every day, because there's always diversions and distractions and things like that.
Yeah, and that definitely makes sense. Looking through your bio and seeing what your mission is and everything else, that's kind of cool that there's such a great meaning behind it. Because a lot of bands, when they pick their names, and I'm guilty of it as well. When I pick the River's Edge, it's just a name,
yeah,
and that's it. So it's really cool to hear that there's a story. I know with the River's Edge, I didn't even come up with that name. I just was asking around because I'm really bad at naming things.
It's a cool name.
So thank you. Yeah, no. So is the Sun King Warriors. I loved it. And this is really an important project for you.
Yes.
Because this really was your baby. This is really your chance to express yourself through your writings. You've obviously written before with Rusted Root and everything else, but this was kind of different, right?
It was very different. When I left Rusted Root back in 2005, I thought that maybe this would be my last my last chance to do music,
mm-hmm.
and that part was over. And so I tried not doing it for about 10 years and doing a 180 into education, which I love and I still do. And I felt irritated every day that I wasn't making music, that I wasn't writing it, and that I wasn't performing. It was really something that got on me. And I had a couple of health scares, which caused me to go, hey, if I don't do something now, then when's it ever going to happen? So it kind of gave me the inspiration to say, you know what, no matter what it becomes, even if no one likes it, I need to write, I need to play, just for myself. It needs to happen before I leave the planet.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you got through those 10 years, but really, it was a hiatus, but it really wasn't in some ways. You started the drum circle organization, and you got involved in teaching, and you jumped into so many other things, and you were helping people with disabilities as well,
yep.
Correct?
Yeah, I didn't ever see myself as an educator.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was cool. I didn't think it was anything that could ever be satisfying. And when I left, I had to find something because the income stream was gone.
Yeah.
And I have 3 little kids at home, and it's amazing how having all those people depending on you will inspire you to do something. And I wasn't going to get a 9-to-5. I don't think I could ever live in that.
It's horrible.
Yeah, well, I'm
dealing with it now.
I've done it, and it's no fun. And so I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially when it's in regards to my time. And so I developed things, and I threw them against the wall, and I failed at a bunch of them. But eventually I started to figure some things out. And the big thing I learned is that I love helping people with the musical part of my life. I love showing people that not only can they enjoy it and listen to it, but they can be a part of it and actually be a part of the creative process. And that's that's so much of the work that I do with kids with disabilities and with people recovering from substance abuse addiction. My college students, it's all about bringing people into the process and helping them get rid of the idea that they need to be perfect at it for it to be beneficial.
Sometimes I feel like when you're trying to be perfect, you can actually get a worse product out of it in some ways. I know myself, now we're treating it as if it's live, so we're not broadcasting live. This is pre-recorded, but I'm treating it as if it's live because when I do something that's pre-recorded and I really try to make it perfect, I'll drive myself insane, nitpicking every little piece of audio and video that comes out of the project, and I end up not enjoying it. It's no longer fun. Whereas live, there's something exciting about it. You can make a mistake and you have to rebound. Technology starts failing. You're going crazy. And there's something exhilarating about it. It is, yeah. And it's a lot of fun. Now, I was looking at the 10-year hiatus, and yes, you did get involved in a lot of other things, and I feel like, and I'm going to ask you about that a little bit later, how that led into what you're doing now. But through those 10 years, I imagine it was in some ways agonizing, because I was fired from WCAL, my college station. I was banned for life. And I immediately decided to launch The River's Edge as a podcast that developed into a radio network. And if you want to find out why I was banned for life, you'll have to listen to previous episodes of River Talk, which you can hear every Monday at 10 a.m.
It's very scandalous.
Oh, it was fun. It was exciting. But after that happened, I decided to launch this podcast that turned into a network. And I was only off air for 3 months while I built the website, got the infrastructure together, and all of that. And every day it was like a sneeze. When you have to sneeze, but you can't sneeze, it's not coming out, then it's just aggravating because it's itching at you.
Yeah.
That's how I felt for those 3 months. I couldn't imagine feeling like that for 10 years.
Well, I had a good diversion. I had babies at home.
Yes.
And they, as they should, took lots and lots of time and attention and care. And they were the big reason I got off the road in the first place. I could have continued. I could still be in Rusted Root.
Sure.
And I would have missed their entire childhood.
Yeah.
So while I had the irritation that I'm not really doing my mission or the full part of it, it was completely necessary on a family level. It was completely necessary on a professional level too, because I had also stagnated with the band. I was doing a lot of the same old. And not challenging myself, not choosing to challenge myself.
Yeah, that can be challenging as well.
Yeah, that was its own agony. So yeah, it was hard, and there was a period of depression and just like not knowing my identity anymore, because I always I made the mistake of identifying myself as Jim Donovan, drummer from Rusted Root. It was always all those words together, but I didn't know who I was without that end part. Without the of Rusted Root part.
And that could be frustrating as well. I know most of my life, especially my early 20s and after high school and then all the way up until almost 30 years old, I had no clue what I really wanted to do. I ended up switching majors like 6 or 7 times while I was in college, ended up not graduating because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that is very challenging on your soul, too. It is depressing whenever you don't know what you want to do. You don't have that. I don't want to say I didn't have a drive, but you have a drive, but you don't have a direction, I guess.
The mission.
Yeah, the mission.
That's it.
So
and that's the big thing that I learned was that I had to really figure out, besides all of the roles that I play, besides all of the work that I do, underneath of it, what am I doing here on the planet? I actually went through, there's this organization called the Mankind Project. They have this weekend. It's called the New Warrior Weekend.
Okay. Did that play into the band name in any way?
It did, actually.
Okay.
It's the organization it's a worldwide organization that helps men become more emotionally mature and mission-driven. It's not religious. It's not any money scheme. It's just like a solid organization.
That's cool.
And going through that weekend, they help you like get the start on what your mission is. And it worked. And on the way home from that, it was in Indiana, I wrote the song "Can't Stop Falling," which ended up being the first song on my first release.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was that was really the impetus for the whole thing.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm here with Jim Donovan of Jim Donovan and the Sun King Warriors. Brian Crawford here. let's talk about that mission. And I have the mission here in front of me from the band. It says, advance consciousness, expand joy, love, and peace, improve quality of life, model service, and build community. So where did you come up with those points in particular?
I looked at all the different things that I do,
Mm-hmm.
so all the actions, and I thought about, what is the purpose of each of those things that I do besides making a living? Because everyone's got to make a living, but
Sure.
underneath it, what is it? And I distilled it down to those ideas of, what do I really want to bring to the world? I'm just one person, and I have a sphere of influence. I've got my kids, I've got people that listen to the music. What can I do to help make the world better before I leave?
Mm-hmm.
And those were the ideas. Advanced consciousness means just expanding people's ideas of what's possible. Of course, helping them to be joyful and happy within that. Building communities, giving people opportunities to make friends and increase the strength of the social connection, which in this day and age it seems like it's getting whittled at by forces that want to control things. So we know with music, people can't touch it. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
what you believe in. You come in here and we're all together. And I feel like it's one of the last places where people can come and feel that with a group of people that they don't know.
And it's amazing, too, because it doesn't matter what type of music, what genre it is.
Nope.
There's studies that show that heavy metal and hard rock are a calming influence on people who like that genre of music.
Totally. That's true.
Which is really kind of fascinating in a way. So you worked with kids with disabilities, you've got the drum circle and all of that which went on in the 10-year hiatus. And I feel like helping people in kind of growing into those fields have set a direction for your band and its purpose now. Is that a safe thing to say?
Yeah, the idea of just being of service, knowing that it's one thing to sell T-shirts, which is great, and it's
Mm-hmm.
one thing for people to buy music and, again, to make the living, all important. But I learned that what helps me sleep easy at night is knowing that some actions that I took today made a difference for somebody. That I shared something that could help them, with anxiety, for example, or help them get a better night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like things that might seem little, but if a person uses an exercise that I show them and they do it nightly, it could literally change the trajectory of their health and the quality of their life.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to listen to one of those songs a little bit later at the
Cool.
end of today's interview, so people can kind of get a feel for what you're doing and kind of feel what you're describing here today. So, was it easy to find band members to share that vision? Because there's a lot of people in the band, and I'm sure it was hard to try to find everybody to fit into the right piece, the right puzzle piece to create the image that you were looking for.
Yeah, it was purposeful, but it was not like a search.
Okay.
It was more like these guys kind of dropped out of the sky one at a time at various points over the 10 years. And I made friends with them. The first day of my teaching at St. Francis University, where I pivoted to, the president of the university introduced me to Kent Tonkin, who's our bass player.
Mm-hmm.
He was the other guy on campus who had long hair. And he said, "You got to meet this guy. He's in the band. I bet you guys will get along." So, like the week after I left Rusted Root, I met Kent.
Oh, wow.
Our conga player Brian Fazio, I met him at a drumming symposium. I had booked myself a gig that night, but I didn't have people to play with. It was like a drumming gig, and we were washing our hands in the men's room, and he said, "Man, I loved your thing today." And I said, "Dude, what are you doing tonight? You wanna come play a gig?" He's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I need an extra drummer tonight." And so he came and he never left. And on and on. Each of the guys, they just sort of fell out of the sky. And as I got to know them, I had in the back of my mind that I was going to do this someday. I don't know when.
Yeah.
But and this guy would be great for that, and this guy would be great for that, and
so on and so on.
And so on.
It's amazing how that works. When something's supposed to happen, things do fall into place. I know after WCAL, I started the podcast, and I refer to it as a radio show because I hadn't really listened to many podcasts at the time, and I'll be honest, I had a negative perception of what a podcast was until I started listening, because anybody can do it, so there's a lot of subpar podcasts and there's a lot of really good podcasts. It just depends on how committed someone is to doing the background work and honing in on their skills.
True.
Just like, a musician, if somebody who picks up the guitar occasionally isn't going to be good as somebody who is working at it every day and treating it as a profession. So I was going around and I was at a networking meeting, and I actually ran into my business partners there who had an idea for a radio station. They saw me going around advertising that I was doing this radio show, and they thought that I beat them to their idea. So they wanted to set up a meeting with me, and we just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and it grew into this network. So I know
That's
exactly
awesome.
what you mean.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool how things do work out and come together. So I was looking at your schedule, and it got me thinking of this debate that has been going on in the music community over music festivals. Now, we here at the Millvale Music Festival, we pride ourselves in the fact that we do pay every artist that performs at the festival, which is something that was really important to us. But a lot of people have a negative perception of music festivals, even ones that do pay, and sometimes they claim that it's bad for the music community, which, because there's so many bands on the festival, I've often looked at it from a different approach, where I feel like it gives a lot of smaller bands the chance and opportunity to perform with some bigger names, such as yourself, and people who might be here to see you could stumble upon some of these other bands, and it really creates a lot of great opportunities for younger bands that are getting started. So I always thought it was kind of a good thing. I wanted to get your thoughts, because your schedule is covered with many different festivals here locally and around the region, so I feel like you and your band do see a lot of value in these festivals, and I wanted to hear why you feel that way.
Yeah, and is the argument from people who think they're not good that it takes away from their other gigs somehow, or that because it's free that they can't charge money? Is that the argument that you're getting?
Well, a couple of the arguments are. One of the arguments is that they don't pay the bands, which I know we pay every band, and I know the Deutschtown pays bands as well. So that it does happen at a lot of these festivals. And one of the other arguments is just that there's too many bands, and the best bands aren't up at the top. But to me, the point of a festival is it's a community event where people can explore and meet different bands, and somebody maybe comes for one of the larger bands, but then they get to experience some of these other bands, and it really creates to me a better community for the music scene overall.
From my perspective, I only have my experience to talk about. When Rusted Root was first coming up, one of the things that we did was anyone who asked us to play a benefit, we played it. We spent about 2 years playing every single benefit you can imagine.
Sure.
Protests, a lot of super left-wing causes that we didn't even understand, that we were just doing.
Yeah.
And the purpose was just to get people to come in and check us out, because we thought that if people would come check us out, they would like it and they would come back. And luckily, we were right. Those 2 years were integral for us, because they helped us to get sharp. Like, we got really good in the space of 2 years, because we just played and played and played for nothing. Now, there is a good argument to say, hey, you can't always play for nothing, because then how do you ever sustain yourself? And I would say that unless your content, unless your music and your show is undeniable, that you have a show that people go, oh my God, I have to go see this.
Yeah.
If that's not where you are as an artist, then you have work to do. And if you're complaining that there's the best bands aren't at the top, to me that's I say this with love, that's ego.
Yeah.
And it's not useful for you to help get you to where you want to go. The more humble you can make yourself, the more you make room for other people, and the less you turn this stuff into a competition, the better we all are going to be. To me, the music festival is crucial, because it automatically gets people in the door, and then it's up to you as the band to completely kick ass and give the listener a reason to want to come back. So if your show isn't there, then go back to the rehearsal studio and hone yourself.
And even if the show is there, if no one knows who you are, you could be the best in the world, but if nobody has a chance to see you, and plus, with these festivals, you do get paid, and it is a benefit to the community as well. It does help, I think,
everybody
the scene
wins.
at large.
And if you complain about it, you're wasting energy. You could be devoting that energy to making your show better. Get to become a better singer, work on your songwriting. Spend that energy in your craft and not anywhere else, because it just doesn't help.
So what is the next step for Jim Donovan and the Sun King Warriors?
Yeah, the goal right now, since we've been playing, is to create a regional base.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing places like Pittsburgh and Cleveland, Central Pennsylvania, Erie,
New York, I saw.
Western New York. A lot of us still have kids at home, so we're doing a circle. It's much like the Rusted Root Circle that we did back in the early 90s.
Sure.
And for me, the only goal right now is to create this circle that we can go out and play wherever we want, and it's always fun. There's not a ton of pressure. And then as time goes on, if there's an opportunity to go do something on a bigger scale, we're going to look at that. But we're staying independent. We're running our entire show by ourselves, and it's a really wonderful feeling to have just have everything in house.
When you go on the road, do you take the family with you?
Sometimes my daughter Tupelo sings with me. Sometimes, as does my other daughter Ella. So sometimes they'll come. Sometimes the whole gang comes. Sometimes no one comes. It just depends on.
What do they think when they go? What's their experience?
At first, they're like, "Is Dad having a midlife crisis?" Which is true. I definitely had all kinds of crises, and but now they see it. Now I've been telling them, first and foremost, I'm doing this because my soul needs to do this. It's part of my path, and they get it, and I have like complete support, and that's the best feeling.
Yeah, when your family supports you, it definitely changes things. I know my
It's
parents have been 100% behind what we're doing at the River's Edge. We'll have an event, and they'll come and they'll buy pizza because they feel like we don't have enough food, or this board was a Christmas gift. When I got let go from WCAL, when I was banned for life, it was right before Christmas time, and I'm in my late 20s at the time, and the parents always ask you, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm always like, I don't know. I'm in my late 20s. I just buy what I want. Well, that year I was like, I need a soundboard. I need a microphone. I need this. I need that. So I'm working part-time at some crappy job. And then all of a sudden I need to build a studio out of nothing. And I was so used to having physical controls, and I don't think I could ever go to an electronic board of any kind. I need to have physical pots and things like that to work. So I just needed a board, and they helped me fund the initial equipment that we had.
That's awesome.
So so I know exactly what you mean. It's wonderful. So what are you most excited for the Millvale Music Festival? We'll wrap up with that.
Two things. My daughter Tupelo's doing a set.
Oh, awesome.
Which I'm
That's great.
Totally stoked about. Earlier in the day.
Where's she going to be performing?
I don't know the exact stage.
Okay. I'll look it up while you're talking.
It'll be it's on the schedule somewhere.
Yeah.
And then this might be the latest show we've ever played, 11 p.m.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I think everyone's kind of stoked up about that. We're gonna the guys. We love playing this venue. Mr. Smalls is.
It's
we just
space.
did our release party here last Friday, and it was wall to wall, beautiful experience here. The sound's always good. The people that do all the sound and the monitors are fantastic. And then, of course, Liz Berlin and Mike Speranzo are
wonderful people,
old dear friends of mine. And,
they were great for us. Our old studio had caught on fire, and the next day we decided. I had made a pledge that day that we were not going to miss a single broadcast due to the fire, and I didn't know if I didn't know if I'd be out there with a phone doing a Facebook Live type of a deal, because I didn't know what equipment was surviving.
Sure.
And luckily our radio network is on the cloud service, so it never stopped streaming. So cool. We go in to get the equipment after the fire, and everything looked like at least was alive. All of the CDs, we had all these local music CDs up on the ceiling. They had all melted, but the equipment was sitting there. I took it. I didn't know if it would work or not. We go to Nova Cafe the next day.
Sure.
Set it all up. Everything works. We do a live broadcast from Nova Cafe. In the middle of a live broadcast, I get a text message from Mike Speranzo saying that he wanted to talk about moving the River's Edge into the Smalls complex. So, really awesome guy and awesome
that
people.
That guy he's one of the most brilliant people I know.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
He knows how to build stuff. He has vision.
Built this balcony right here that we're sitting on.
We're sitting right on. I remember him telling me.
Him and Kevin and the team, yeah.
The big crew, yep. He's magnificent.
Yeah. So Tupelo is performing at 3 p.m. at Tazadora. It's a coffee shop here in Millvale, and also one of our sponsors, one of the great sponsors for the music festival.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, really great. So, and also don't forget Jeremy Kaywood. I want to give a big thank you to him. He got the lights on and he got me in the door here today so we could do this interview. He's going to be performing twice during the festival. He's going to be performing Friday night for our opening night at the Food Truck Park. He's also going to be performing at the War Room, which is below the main theater at Mr. Smalls, and he will also be hosting that event, so you can check out Jeremy as well that day. So big thanks to him for helping us out. Jim, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing you here at the main stage. It's going to be at 11 p.m. Stage starts and opens at 6 p.m. It's the River's Edge stage. If you can't make it, we'll be live streaming it as well at riversedgepgh.com/live. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, and I just want to let everybody know, if you're interested in our new music,
yes,
we're doing this thing. It's called the Premium Album Experience. So we decided to forego all the record label stuff and do everything in-house. And what we built is this. It's a completely free thing. Anybody can get it if they go to sunkingwarriors.com.
I just signed up.
Oh, you just signed up?
I did, yeah.
It's basically we send you the entire record for free. We do it over 5 days, and what it is, each day you get 2 songs to download and keep, and then attached to each song I wrote essays or song stories, for behind the lyrics, the meaning, how some of the ideas came to be, just to give you a glimpse into that process. And then in each of these days, you also see some tracking videos, so where we were in the studio, laying down a bass part or laying down the drum part. And the thing I'm most excited about is when I was writing the music for this, I kept a diary really on my phone of all the initial ideas. So I went back and scanned through all those ideas and found like the snippets of the hooks of many of the songs, so you could actually see when, like, the moment the song was born. And then watch the lyric video and see the whole thing in its completed form.
Wow, that's really cool. Has that been done before? It seems like such a unique idea. It's almost like being able to peer into someone's diary.
That's the idea. Is that our goal? I mean, we love to sell records. Every musician does. But we think that if we just take all the barrier of money away and take all the record company BS out, and just say, here's who we are. If you dig it, then maybe you'll come see us at a show. Maybe you'll get a shirt someday. And we're not going to worry about money right now. Instead, we're just generating. We have this goal of generating 100,000 listeners this year.
That's awesome.
And so the best way we think we can do it is just to give it to you and decide and give you something that's cool, not just here's our MP3s. We want to give you like a rich experience that you can like sit with and go, oh wow, I get this. Yeah,
that's fascinating.
That's cool.
Very cool. Awesome. So 11 p.m. right here, Mr. Smalls Theater. Jim Donovan and the Sun King Warriors. What's your website so people can look that up?
It's just sunkingwarriors.com, or you can check us on Facebook, just Sun King Warriors on Facebook, and at Sun King Warriors at Twitter.
Very cool. It's Jim Donovan. He'll be here at 11 p.m. May 12th for the Millvale Music Festival at the River's Edge stage. We're a proud sponsor of the Millvale Music Festival. For the complete schedule of events throughout the festival, you can go to millvalemusic.org, and to listen to local music right now, streaming 24 hours a day, you can go to riversedgepgh.com. Just click play at the top of the page. That's Jim Donovan. I'm Brian Crawford. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.